Welcome to the Raw Spotlight podcast, where we feature inspiring leaders in the B2B space and share their unique stories. Let's get started with the show.
All right. So welcome to the Raw Spotlight, the Modern Marketer series, where we dive deep into the experiences and journeys of up-and-coming marketers. In this series, we focus on marketers who are fresh out of school or early into their careers, sharing real-life insights, struggles, and victories to help inspire others on the exact same path. So whether you're just starting or looking to level up in your marketing career, here you'll find relatable stories, advice, and strategies from fellow young professionals who are already making their mark. So get ready to learn, grow, and connect the next generation of marketing leaders. On today's episode of the Modern Marketer series by the Raw Spotlight, I'm thrilled to introduce Nikita Luhar. So Niki is a recent graduate from Cal Poly Pomona, where she earned her bachelor's in marketing management. She's a passionate digital marketer with a focus on social media strategy and creative campaigns, having gained hands-on experience as a marketing intern at both the Winter Group and Vinecliff Winery. Niki's work ethic shines through in her leadership roles, including being the choreography captain and co-president of her university's Bollywood dance team. So today we'll dive into her journey from school, as well as to starting her career and the lessons she's learned along the way. And before I jump into any questions, I'm just going to give a quick sponsorship message. So this episode is brought to you by Ready Artwork, where we deliver uniquely tailored B2B digital marketing services to facilitate the long-term growth of your business. At Ready Artwork, we combine data-driven insights with innovative design to help your business thrive in the digital age. So from SEO and digital marketing to web development and email marketing, we have experts who help companies uncover growth in unexplored and extraordinary ways. So to learn more, visit readyartwork.com or get a free proposal. Let Ready Artwork discover your full potential. Alrighty, so hi, Niki.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good.
Awesome. So just to kick us off real quick, I really want to learn more about your journey into the marketing world. So I first want to know what sparked your interest in digital and creative marketing, and how did Cal Poly Pomona shape that journey?
So I guess growing up, I've always been a very extroverted person and I've always loved talking to people, communicating, meeting new people. Like it's just something I've always loved to do. And so I realized in high school, you're trying to figure out like what career path you want, what major you're gonna have in college. And I was like, hey, like maybe, marketing is the way to go for me. I really didn't know much about it. But then yeah, at Cal Poly Pomona, the major there was just really great. The program was really amazing. Just the business school in general, compared to other schools. And I feel like you got to have a more personal relationship with your professors and they really honed your skills. But I didn't really realize how much I loved marketing in general until I would say my last 2 years of college, where I actually got to take more of those specific marketing courses. And I realized like, hey, I'm like actually pretty good at this and I could definitely see myself continuing this in my career after college.
Mm-hmm. That's very true. And I do know that Cal Poly Pomona has a pretty medium-sized community, and their
Yeah.
professors are super engaged. So I'm sure that helped a little bit with your career.
Yeah, definitely did. I have no regrets about going to Cal Poly Pomona. I thought it was a great way to go for marketing.
Mm-hmm. I definitely agree. So I definitely want to talk more about your internship roles as well, leading
Mhm.
up to that. So I know that you've worked as a marketing intern at both the De Winter Group as well as the Vinecliff Winery. So how did those experiences differ, and what unique lessons did you take away from each of those internships?
So my very first internship was with Vinecliff Winery. It was a super, relaxed internship. Obviously, they're a winery from Napa, family business. They've been around forever and ever. Um, but yeah, like it was mostly a social media like management internship. So I was basically in charge of keeping up with their social media on their Instagram platform and Facebook. So I would, just like try to create content for them mainly, and yeah, just trying to bring in like more customers and just new audiences, just bring that in for the business. And that one was a fully remote. My boss, she would just send whatever pictures she had from the day during their wine tastings or events, and I would kind of create those into just posts. It was very, what's the word? It was very new to me, I would say, in that moment. Like I had like done social media posts for like clubs and stuff, but doing it for an actual like business for the first time or like a brand, it was different because, they want certain things worded like in certain ways, and learning about branding was a little bit new to me. So as like a first time internship, that one was like a great way to start. And so like I would say like the lesson I learned from that was to just constantly remind yourself that, even though like you're new at something, or even though you may not be as experienced, like that's okay, because like first experiences are always going to get you to more experiences, especially with how much you're learning from each one. And yeah, I guess my second internship was with De Winter Group. They are a accounting and finance recruiting firm that is based in the Bay Area. And yeah, that one was also fully remote. In that internship, I worked with the marketing manager to basically learn how to create campaigns. That was my first campaign experience. I would say in that internship was where I truly understood what real marketing is, outside of just, posting pictures on social media. Um, Posting pictures on social media, like, yeah, like that's great. It's a start, but there's so much more to it. And that's when I like fully learned like how much there actually is to marketing, like um creating like a 6-week campaign for the first time. Like that was a really cool experience. Yeah, like I mostly created campaigns, created graphics for them. And yeah, like I guess the lesson learned from that is I guess that I don't know, like you can really grow no matter like no matter what position you're in, like you're gonna grow. And that one, really grew. And I also learned how to like be a part of a marketing team for the first time. Like that one was really cool because I was working with the operations team every week. So I wasn't just reporting to the marketing manager. I was also reporting to other people on the team and what they needed. So yeah, that was like my first, I would say like big girl internship. That one was really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know that as you develop with more internships or as other people may have experienced,
Yeah.
it is kind of tricky navigating how to work with team members in that professional environment, making the most out of it as well.
Yeah.
And I know, like you mentioned too, with social media, it's not just posting, right?
Yeah.
There has to be a growth mindset with everything that you do.
Yeah.
So, like, what am I posting? What should I be posting? What is the end goal that I want these people to do when I
Exactly.
post? So, I think that's amazing that you were able to do those campaigns and help drive that, especially.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was like the first time I learned like, okay, like what is the company gonna get from this, and like why do they need it? You
right.
know, so that was definitely a new concept for me at the time, but it helped me going into like my last year of college, where all of my classes were campaign focused.
Hmm. I'm glad that schools like Cal Poly, they'll teach you too, like how important that is with the campaigns and the planning aspect, and how important that is with guiding those different campaigns on social media.
Mhm.
So I do know that social media, as you may also be aware of, it's constantly changing and evolving. There's new products coming out from these social media outlets every single day, it seems like. So I just want to know, how do you stay updated with the trends and how do you incorporate them into your marketing strategies?
So I think like staying up to trends, just trying to be present on majority social media platforms is a good start, like TikTok for example, you obviously want to have TikTok today as a marketer so that you can see what trends, because right now I feel like TikTok is one of the leading social media platforms. It's like if a song goes viral on TikTok, then like it's gonna be number one on all like Billboard platforms. Like it's TikTok is like the social media platform right now for growing like companies and businesses. So if you can get, a lot of views on a TikTok video, that's already going to bring in more audiences for you. So I think you're just with like staying up to trends, you got to be present on these platforms. Otherwise, you're going to fall behind because things change very fast. Things evolve very fast. Um, yeah, so just be present on those platforms. What was the second part to the question?
Sure. It was just, how do you incorporate that into your marketing strategies?
Yeah, so I guess it like would depend on the business, right? Like what is the product or service you're marketing? Um, you're trying to figure out, okay, like what kind of trends are going to match with what you can do with that product or service, so or brand in general. Um, so you kind of just have to like test things out, really. You kind of have to um yeah, honestly, just be open to trying new things, to see what works for the company. Yeah,
Right. And I'm sure you've realized too with your experience that with these different campaigns, there's not a one size fits all approach.
right.
So maybe it's TikTok for this campaign and maybe it's a different channel for another campaign. But
Exactly.
I definitely agree with being present because even I'll notice too, right, on Instagram, there's a lot of influence does come from TikTok in terms of what
Hmm.
you see and how it influences different marketing tactics as well. So I think
Hmm.
that's a really good thing to note. So
Definitely.
kind of piggybacking off of that, I know you've worked with a few different campaigns that you mentioned. So is there one that you're particularly proud of and why?
So I think that the one campaign I am most proud of was during my micro internship with Sowing Seeds for Life. They're a nonprofit food bank based in like the LA area, Pomona area. And with that, I had to basically create like a campaign or lead one that basically the goal was to bring in donors and bring in money for Sowing Seeds for Life so that they would be able to feed these people that needed food, fighting food security, right? So I basically was able to raise nearly $5,000 with my team and my class, just using different methods, multiple like fundraising methods, like tabling on campus, or reaching out to people through the phone, via email or phone calls, text messages. Um, that one I was really proud of because I worked really hard on that one, and that was the first, I would say, campaign where I felt like really connected to it because you're doing it for a good cause. And I think that sometimes when you're doing something for a good cause, it really hits home, like it, especially like for me, I not only did like we do this campaigning, but we also volunteered with them multiple times. And gave, passed out boxes of food into these cars, and we got to see these people's faces, like, like face to face with them. And doing that while also doing the campaigning kind of made us more passionate for the work that we were doing for them. Um, so yeah, like I would say that that was the campaign that I was most proud of.
Yeah, and that's a really amazing project that you guys were able to work on. And I definitely agree with having a passion behind those campaigns.
Mhm.
It does drive the result of the campaign. So I know you mentioned you're really passionate about that area and making a difference. So that's pretty amazing. And how would you say that this whole experience with that group, how has it shaped your passion for your marketing direction? Like, has it influenced your nonprofit marketing side or another area?
Yeah, so I mean, the micro internship was part of a class um, during my last semester of college. It was for a social impact and nonprofit marketing class. And I honestly didn't really know what to expect going into it because, in my mind, like I wanted to do digital marketing. Um, but after this campaign experience, I I liked making a difference, not just like for myself, but for other people. And I liked how I never realized how marketing could really tie into that. And it just made me realize that, okay, marketing doesn't just have to be, um, it doesn't just have to be about growth or, it doesn't have to just benefit the company, but it should also benefit the people, you know? So I feel like that was the first experience where I understood how marketing could do just more than one thing, but it could be so much more for other people. Because, like we would say constantly, like $1 equals 4 pounds of food. So if you donated $1, you would be providing 4 pounds of food for this organization, which is a lot of food. So $5,000, like that's a lot of food. And when you think about it in like in the big picture, like it's just pretty amazing. So I definitely would love to continue to do digital marketing in my career. But if there ever came an opportunity to get more into the social impact area in marketing, I would definitely want to go for it. I think that it is a great area to go in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do agree with your perspective on how marketing can make different effects or ripple effects. So
Mhm.
I know you mentioned like $1 equals 4 pounds of food, right?
Mhm.
And I think that's an amazing metric to look at when you're doing these campaigns because it's easy to think that marketing means business success or it means for profit success, or maybe it's just revenue year over year. But like you mentioned, there's different ways we can track that with different companies, whether it's making a public difference or changing people's lives. I just think that's really amazing. And I'm glad you're able to be a part of that. So I think that's really cool. And so I know you just mentioned that you would be interested in more of the social impact marketing. So
Mhm.
basically, in the long term as well, do you see yourself working for more nonprofits in that case, even if it wasn't social impact, or what's kind of your pinpoint on that?
Yeah, I think that if there was ever an opportunity to work, full time or even like part time for a nonprofit, I would definitely go for it. I think that um, I feel like it would definitely keep me grounded too as a marketer, because you're doing something good at the same time. And I think that's just important as like for any human being really in this world.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So, talking about the same campaign for the sowing for seeds or sowing the seeds for life, excuse me. I just want to know what were the biggest challenges that you encountered during the campaign And how did you and your team overcome them?
Yeah, so I think the hardest thing for us was, we're trying to get donors, but what kind of message can we put out there in order to get those donors, and who is our target? Who is our target audience for that? So we were on campus most of the time we were doing this fundraiser, and I would say that it was much easier to get other like professors and other other people working on the campus to donate. But how do we get the students to donate? What can we do to get them interested, and get them to care about the cause, right? So we in the first few weeks we really struggled to get the students to donate. And being on campus, like the biggest amount of people there are the students, right? So um, if we were able to create a message to get their attention, then that could bring in a lot of money. So what could we do? And so at first, what we tried to do was um, like go into the classes and talk about our experience volunteering for Sowing Seeds for Life and then what they could do to help us out or help the organization out. And we kind of crafted a message. And, that didn't work the way we wanted to. So we had to try new ideas. One of the things that I had come up with was a dare board. So it's sort of like a bingo card, but it's something you post on, a social media platform like Instagram. And basically, and each square was a certain amount of money and a certain dare. And so once somebody donated one of the squares, then I would have to post a video of me doing that dare. And for students, that was a really fun concept. So they really liked that. That brought in some money. And then another thing we had to do was create stickers. So like if you donate, then you get a sticker, and that was really cool. That brought in more donors and more students' interest specifically because college students love stickers. They love putting it on laptops, water bottles, whatever. And then something that we also wanted to do was create more of a personalized experience. And that wasn't until like the end of the campaign where we were really trying to get like that last amount of money from people, where we were like, okay, how can we benefit us and the organization, but also benefit the other people? So what I ended up doing was leading a Bollywood dance workshop, and all the proceeds from that would go towards Sowing Seeds for Life. So it wasn't just like, oh, like you have to buy a $5 ticket and that money would go to me. No, it was going to go to Sowing Seeds for Life. And that turned out really great. We got like 30 plus people at this workshop coming to learn, a new dance style and have a good time, meet new people while also doing something good by donating for a good cause. And I think that was our biggest hit with the fundraiser, I would have to say, because it was, you're creating an experience for people. And who doesn't love trying new things and getting to do something new with your friends? So
Mhm.
yeah, I guess like it was definitely like a learning experience along the way. We had to try different things along the way in order to get to our goal.
Yeah, and I love that you guys were able to take those opportunities on campus, like you mentioned the Bollywood team and
Hmm.
the Dare cards. Like those are great engagement opportunities. And I think that you may have seen as well through those campaign or through that whole campaign and how to engage students more to care for the cause. I think that, like you mentioned, personalization and engagement is so important nowadays.
Yeah.
And I like that you guys use the in-person opportunities to really help them see this is what happens if you donate. Or like you mentioned with the Dare videos, like if
Hmm.
you donate, I'll do a video on whatever you donated, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's awesome. And we are obviously, I think we're seeing that nowadays. It's super important. And since you did mention the Bollywood team, um, I saw that you were a co-president of the team and then also a choreography captain. So obviously, those are really big leadership roles, especially in college. So, how did these roles influence your approach to teamwork and marketing as a whole?
Yeah, so with dance, like I've been dancing my entire life, specifically Bollywood and Indian folk dancing. So I had basically been in a competitive team my entire life, probably from the age of like, I don't know, 8 and up. So in high school, I ended up being like, we had like a club, we had like a dance club, a Bollywood dance club. I ended up being like captain and president for that for like 3 years. And that's where I got my first real leadership experience. And yeah, in college, it was a very new team. It was maybe like 2, 3 years old. And it wasn't a competitive team, but I became captain, and then in the next year I became co-president, and we had turned it into a competitive team, and we got into our first competitions at UC Santa Barbara, and then we had another one in LA last year. So yeah, I mean, like being in a leadership role for the dance team was, I think, the reason why I love being a leader today, and why I hope to be a leader again in the future. Um, I feel like it's really important to put yourselves in those opportunity and those roles nowadays, because being a leader, you're gonna get far. You're gonna learn new skills that other people might not be able to learn until later on in life. The importance of communication and team bonding. You want your team to bond. You want everyone to, I mean, yeah, get along, but work well together, right? So I think learning how to unify a team, how to, I guess, motivate people at the same time. Motivation's a really big thing being a leader. So I think it takes hard work and it takes a lot of communication in order to get far or be a good leader. And I think being like a relatable human being as well is a very big, important factor when you are a leader. Sure, you can be really strict or really closed off and still be a good leader. But for me, my style was I want to be able to get my team members to know who I am. I'm a pretty empathetic person, so I felt that having a relationship with everybody on the team, having a good standing with everyone on the team was gonna be able to bring in more unity. And I still am a firm believer in being a human being when you're a leader. So I think that with my leadership experience on the Bollywood dance team growing up, I think that definitely makes me more confident if I ever get any leadership roles in my career in the future. Yeah.
Hmm. And do you think that you've always had that leadership role in you? Some people have it, when they're a kid, but other people have to sort of work throughout their life and experiences to
Mhm.
sort of fulfill that role. Do you think that you've always had it or had that sort of leadership calling in you, or do you feel like you kind of had to work for it?
I personally, I feel like it's always come very natural to me.
Hmm.
Um, I've always been pretty extroverted, I've always been very open to talking to people, or, raising my hand in class, I mean, like I don't know, it just always came naturally. I always just enjoyed being in a position where I could um help other people.
Hmm.
I think not not it wasn't like that I cared so much about being like president of the dance team, I didn't really care about that much. I think it for me it was more like, okay, I want to help our team get far,
Hmm.
and I want to help the team grow. So if that means I need to be in a leadership position in order to do that, then I want to do it. I will put myself in that position because I enjoy that.
Hmm. And I think that's amazing that you're able to have that role because not everyone has it in them. So I really hope that you're able to apply it like when you like in the future when you have those positions.
Mhm.
I think that'd be awesome. But sounds like you're on the path to it anyways.
Thanks. Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. And so basically, I also want to know mentors are pretty big in terms of helping to guide your career, especially as you're going through college. And if any, what role has mentorship played in your career so far, and how have your mentors helped shape your marketing approach?
Yeah, so I mean, like, I guess I've never really had like someone to call a mentor, but I can definitely think of a couple people who have shaped me as a marketer today. And those two people are Miller Bradford, the marketing manager from De Winter Group, and Professor Lydia Chenshaw, who works in the marketing department for Cal Poly Pomona. Those two women have been great. They have definitely shaped me as a marketer today. Um, Especially Professor Lydia Chenshaw. I took multiple classes with her in college, and she is an amazing person, amazing human being. She has taught me so much about what being passionate about marketing really is and what it feels like, and I really admired that about her while taking her classes.
Hmm. And how do you feel that their skill set and their advice and their learnings, how do you think that that helped shape your marketing approach overall?
I think it helped me think about things realistically.
Hmm.
Um, I think, it's really easy to sort of dream about what your career is going to look like or what life after college is going to look like. But I think that they really helped me think realistically on, okay, this is what the actual work is. These are the skills that you will need, and these are ways you can grow. And I think that you have to think about those things, especially after college. I personally don't have a job yet, and that's okay. The market's really not the best right now. Or, maybe my skills just really need a decent amount of shaping. It can go really any way, but they have helped me think realistically as to how life is and that it's okay if you don't get a job immediately after college, but to continue to grow your skills no matter what.
Hmm. It sounds like they gave you a very holistic and growth oriented approach. And that's really valuable because, like you said, everyone's on a different path, right?
Mhm.
And maybe it's just not the right time to be in a position, or maybe you're just like waiting to get that spot, you know?
Mhm.
So I think those are very important teachings from them for sure.
Yeah.
So changing the gears a little bit. So you've had a few experiences with campaigns, obviously, that we've talked about. And as you've seen with like the campaign for Cal Poly course, and creativity is really important in problem solving and marketing. So I was curious as to for your experience in drama and leadership in high school. So going in the past a little bit, because it does start from the foundation, right? So how have those roles from earlier on helped shape your creativity in marketing?
Yeah, so I guess I've always been a creative person. I've always loved art, I've always loved dancing. Uh I even enjoyed singing growing up. I took like classes and I learned how to play like the piano, the guitar, the ukulele. Like I was very like creative, like musical person in general. So, yeah, in high school, I was in drama for 3 years and I was horrible at acting. Honestly, I was like really bad at it. But my dance experience helped me get into, the choreography positions. And I loved being, I had choreographed for, like Bollywood dances and Indian folk dances before, that was where I was definitely very strong in. But, being able to choreograph things like little dances for the holiday showcases in high school, that was new for me, but it helped me think in a different way. And then also being one of the coaches for male cheer, I had never done cheer in my life before. Like I've just never done that. And so but helping with little things like the choreography for, you know, not not even like teaching like only women, but teaching like these like high school dudes, And like that was just very different. I was like way out there from like what I was used to. So I think that it was really cool to be able to think creatively in multiple different ways. And I think that really shaped my brain now to like, what's the word? I guess sort of like assimilate to any like group or like team, because I've experienced from that being able to um, be in different kinds of teams or groups. You know what I mean? Like I've
Mhm.
been able to experience different groups of people and think creatively in different ways with that. So I think that definitely helps the way I think today creatively. Yeah.
Mhm. And it does sound too, because you volunteered for these different positions, like you
Mhm.
mentioned the male or male cheer team.
Mhm.
That's obviously something very new, like you mentioned, to
Yeah.
you. And so it sounds like really jumping at those opportunities, even though it may not be super familiar or you
Yeah.
might not have experience in it. It sounds like those are the biggest learning opportunities.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, I just saw it as like a really fun opportunity to hang out with friends even, just like it's just like a fun new way and it like I guess it didn't really matter whether or not I was going to be like good or bad at it because either way I was going to learn some new lesson from it or grow my skill in some different way. Sure, like back then in high school I didn't think about how it was going to help my creative mind today, but now when I think about it, I'm like, hey, that was actually a really cool experience that I got to do because it did um help me think differently from other people.
Hmm. Absolutely. So, looking at today, as we both know, the market for jobs right now is kind of crazy.
Mhm.
But I did see that you're open to marketing assistant and coordinator roles. So, from your perspective, what kind of company culture or work environment are you looking for as you advance your career?
Um, I would have to say, I'm looking for an organization that has obviously a company culture that cares about the people who work for them. You
Hmm.
know, I I've seen what I've seen what companies that clearly don't show how like their care towards their, the people that work for them that are helping them like bring in money and, like I've seen what that looks like. And then I've seen the complete opposite, about having a good work-life balance and having understanding that team bonding and team events are gonna help push the or motivate the employees to, get good work done and be productive, And I hope to be on that side, because I do think that, having a good work-life balance and having team events and just having like a good I can't think of the word, but a good company culture, like I think a strong one, within the team is going to help with productivity and motivation. And I hope that I'll be able to be in a company that has that kind of culture.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's super important that everyone's also aligned, like you mentioned as
Mhm.
well. So having a strong team, having a strong culture, or having those team bonding events, that's super important. So I
Mhm.
definitely agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I know you've worked with a few different tools. So as you're looking around, right? I did see that Canva and then web design are part of your skill set. So, and then you also have a creative background. So, how do you balance that creativity aspect with the functionality when you're creating marketing visuals or campaigns using these tools?
Yeah, so I think that it's easy to just like find a template and put it out there. It's really easy nowadays to just like find a template on Canva and, put it out there. It is like the one of the easiest marketing tools out there. But I think you really have to understand the brand. Um,
Hmm.
you have to understand who is the audience that you are reaching out to. Who are the people that are gonna like see this, graphic or this website? And or like with the website, like how are they gonna easily navigate this? So I think like you just have to think creatively in a way that not only showcases like your skill set and your creative ideas, but is also going to be realistic for the brand. And I think it's honestly really hard to figure out a balance between the two.
Hmm.
But I think with more experience, it gets a little bit easier.
Yeah, I do agree. Like, I see you way too often post on social media for a company
Hmm.
that don't really have a clear next step for people that see it or a clear action or something that they want you to think, right?
Hmm.
So it's super important, like you mentioned, to incorporate that creativity and thinking about what do they really care about? What will make them to move? So obviously you've applied that previously, and I think that's great. But those are great perspectives. And so I'm just going to go back into career a little bit, right? So I like to focus on people that are starting their career or looking for internships that are currently in college. So, since you've had some experience in those internships, for example, and courses at Cal Poly Pomona, what advice would you give to other young marketers who are just starting internships or first time roles?
I would say that, it's okay to have self-doubts, but try not to hesitate. Just take those opportunities no matter what. Um, whether it's in a completely new city or a different state or, it's an industry you have no idea about. If you have an opportunity, go for it. And continue to stay motivated and confident in yourself because if you can show that you are confident in your abilities, then they're gonna be confident in you.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I would say just really go for it. Don't hesitate. Just if you see a clear path, you know, like there should be nothing stopping you because like at the end of the day, like those experiences are going to get you far in life.
Mhm. Yeah. And like you mentioned, just going for it, right? You've
Mhm.
went for it too with your previous roles. Like it might not be the exact fit of what you were looking for or
Mhm.
the role that you even thought you were going to be doing 5 years ago,
Mhm.
like with your like leadership positions. But you gain the most out of those. And sometimes you do just have to take a leap of faith,
Yeah,
hope for the best,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. So throughout your journey, as we come to the end here, um, with your different leadership roles, how do you stay motivated and balanced with these different responsibilities and college life?
So like while in college, I think it was definitely a struggle to um balance, both dance and, my classes. It was really hard work. And even with like the internships, two of them being in the summer and one of them being like during the school year. So doing like all three at once, it was definitely a struggle, but it really taught me how to properly manage my time. Um, my time management skills are definitely on point now from that, because you have to like prioritize like, okay, like when am I gonna like be able to get all my work done? And then also focus a certain amount of time of dance and okay, now I have to figure out when do I have to do all this stuff for the campaign and then also be able to have a social life, right? So it's definitely a juggle. It's hard, it's a struggle, but once you figure out a routine, um, then you should be good. Definitely, I mean, it's still gonna be like hard on you sometimes. You're definitely gonna be exhausted, but I have no regrets for what the amount of like stuff I did at the same time. Obviously it's gonna be different for different people, how much one person can handle versus how much I could handle. It could be two completely different ways, but um if you if you figure out a way to manage your time, then it should be manageable. Um, but yeah, I think at the end of the day, if you just like go for those experiences, then it's gonna be okay because either way you're growing and learning something new.
Hmm. Yeah, I do agree that when you are working on an undergrad or a college
Mhm.
degree, time management is so important. And I am familiar with one saying that's like if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And
Oh yeah.
that's so relevant to
Yes.
college, especially when you're balancing, like you mentioned, the campaign planning or extracurricular activities. You have to find that time for yourself and then work also along with college. That takes a lot of time.
Yeah, definitely. Like I feel like in general, college is the best time to put yourself into new opportunities and experiences. And that is the time where you're like figuring out what you want to do in life. Who's the kind of like what kind of person do you want to be in life? What kind of friends do you want to have? What kind of new skills do you want to learn? And like college was really the time to figure all of that out. And so that is when you should be testing all of those new things out. That is what the time where you should be doing so many different things. So, because when else in life are you going to have the time to do all of that at once, you
Mhm.
know? So, yeah, I just felt like college was like the perfect time to be doing that. Every college student should be doing that.
Yeah, definitely. Alrighty. So I do have one final question for you as we wrap up here. So, as we mentioned before in our conversation, marketing as a whole can be kind of crazy. It can be challenging, especially as you're starting your career or finishing your degree. So for you, as you look ahead and look at digital marketing and where it's going, we see a lot of changes, right? So where do you think that digital marketing is going in the next few years, and how are you preparing yourself to stay ahead of it?
Um, yeah, I mean, for me, like not being in a specific job role right now definitely gives me time to look from the outside, like what's really happening and where are things going. So I feel like with digital marketing, there are constantly new tools, coming out, especially with things like AI, like artificial intelligence has become a really big thing. And so it's kind of scary a little bit, but I think it can also be a great tool for digital marketing in the future. I've heard people say that, oh, AI is gonna replace, marketers, or it's gonna like take people's jobs. But I feel like for marketers specifically, especially with digital marketing, like I don't think that's the case, but because we need our human brains to be able to actually understand what can work, and understanding like the audience. Um, but I definitely feel like there's so many new tools, and AI being one of them, it's definitely going to be something that can be so beneficial to us, moving on in these next few years in this world. It's pretty crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think the human brain for marketing is super important.
Definitely. Like there's no way AI's gonna like just replace us. No way.
hmm Well, I just want to say thank you for your insights and like for this whole conversation. And as we do close out this episode of The Modern Marketer for the Ready 30 Artwork Spotlight or the Raw Spotlight, I just want to give you a huge thanks for coming on and sharing your journey.
Yeah,
So,
of course.
yeah, thank you. And from your experiences at Cal Poly Pomona to your internships and your whole experience post college, right? You've shown us basically a lot of power and resilience, creativity, problem solving, and how important it is for shaping your marketing career and even for the future positions as well. So I do hope that those insights and navigating the early stages of the marketing world helps the viewers as well work through those challenges and stay resonated and inspired.
Yeah.
So as Nikki reminded us, growth happens both inside and outside the workplace, and it's not always an immediate reaction. It's not always immediately after graduating or in college, right? Everyone's at different stages, and that's really important as young marketers, basically. So thanks for tuning in, and remember, your path as a modern marketer is just the beginning. Stay tuned and keep pushing forward. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Raw Spotlight podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.